something that's bringing you joy. What is something perhaps in the culture that you're consuming, that is giving you a moment of joy, that is giving you respite away from the bullshit?
Being married to a woman I like.
That's incredibly important in a pandemic. Incredibly important in a pandemic.
Let me tell you.
that's
I know several brothers who are married to women they don't like.
Yeah.
No, it is. I have enjoyed being. Huh?
How long have you been married?
7 years.
I mean, it goes. I don't know about. I don't want to speak about your current specific situation, but it can wax and wane. You have your moments, your years, whatever, where you're like,
No, but I'm not married through a lens of fantasy. I'm not confused that it ebbs and flows. I am focused on the fact that on the ebb and the flow, I choose her.
Yeah.
But that's it.
But you may not. I'm saying one may not like their spouse through the ebb, but I like her more in the flow. But I still choose you. I take you for the ups and downs.
Yeah, but I think that's part of a problem, because I'm not processing how much I like my wife based on our situational emotion. Like if she got on my nerves yesterday.
You could not like how she's behaving, but that's
she got on my nerves yesterday, and I got on her nerves. I still like her. I like the person she is. That doesn't mean that we always get along.
Right.
So but I don't have any expectation of that. In fact, I am more encouraged by our marriage by how we deal with the disagreement. Sure. So the fact that you're getting on my fucking nerves right now, or the fact that I'm driving you crazy right now, the joy is in the response to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jeff took it a little deeper than I was.
No, you did, because
you brought
it up. Say some good stuff I found on Netflix. That was my joy.
You was acting like
I was trying to take it in a different direction, but I appreciate the direction. But I was trying to give the folks something that they could, like, if you're feeling down, like, I'm also consuming this thing.
No, but Toure, I think that's important though, because I think that almost all of us, I think there are very few people that don't have something at arm's length that is meaningful. I don't have to go to a piece of content or in order to identify joy that is directly connected to the blessings that are surrounding me. And so whether it's my children or my family or my friends or my relationships, or the fact that I woke up today and I didn't have COVID, or the fact that I still have the faculty of my intellect, or the fact that I saw something outside and it made me laugh. I think that we often diminish the things that are already in our possession in the name of trying to reach for something that's not. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about those other things. I'm not debating that at all. I do think, however, that we negate the simplest joys in the name of trying to seek them from somewhere else.
No, I'm right there with you, dog. Because I was gonna say, I in my office, so I face the TV, and it has not turned off the news. I haven't watched any. I did sneak and watch Insecure yesterday, but I have not watched anything but the news practically every day. But I turn to my direct right, and I look out the window, and I watch my 14-year-old, 12-year-old, and 7-year-old run around in my backyard, my fenced-in backyard in Farmington, Connecticut, with a new puppy. So, Jeff, I'm right there with you, dog. It's like I'm watching all this. I'm watching something beautiful and potentially we'll see shifting. We already talked about that. But I'm reliving this pain and this trauma we've been talking about this whole time on the screen right there. And I look over here and I thank Heavenly God. I thank my Father in heaven that I got 3 healthy children who are safe and loving life. And I'm getting my joy from their joy, with one another, with the puppy in my backyard. So like if this pandemic has done, Jeff, you preaching, because this pandemic has done nothing but make me count my blessings. Like, A, my family's healthy. I've been blessed enough to not have lost anybody like really close to me. I mean, I know people who lost people, but nobody close to me through this. So it hasn't touched me like that. C, I was already working from home before this happened. This was not an adjustment for me. And bro, I have told so many people that not just my wife, I have a family that we love being around one another. You know, like there are people who are not safe in their own homes, or who are not privileged enough to be able to work from home.
Yeah.
So even in this additional crisis, I am super appreciative for, as Jeff put it, the simple things that are right here in front of me. I don't have to look anywhere else for it.
I would say
I've been just noticing the height of my kids in the last couple of days.
Man, ain't that something?
I think they had a growth spurt over the last week that we didn't notice. And I grabbed my wife the other day and I was like, look at that tall person you made. Like that person.
Are they eye to eye with you?
Not yet, but it's close.
My 14-year-old daughter is eye to eye with me, and let me tell you, that makes parenting a little different.
My son is there with my wife, and my daughter's creeping up on my wife, and I'm like, you guys are really tall. Like, you need to stop growing. Like, what is it? And I'm like, my God, you guys are tall. That is a definite deep moment of joy noticing that shit.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this: I don't have any kids in the background or a dog, but I can say, and again, I've had up and down days. But what it has done is it has forced me to slow down. And I'm not somebody who slows down. I'm somebody who stays busy so I don't deal with shit.
Mm-hmm.
And this pandemic has forced me to slow down. This pandemic has forced me to not just appreciate relationships more, but invest in them in a different way. I'm sure this is the case with us. We all have people who we're cool with, who it's like, I know I'm going to see you in a couple months at NABJ or CBC or blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to spend all night kicking it until 2, because we only see each other a couple times a year. I've started to invest in calling those people now and just having that relationship be something more than every 4 months when we run into each other in New York or LA. I have had meaningful conversations. I keep mentioning Insecure because that started a lot of conversations in my personal life. Like, I literally had that conversation with somebody like 24 hours after that episode, which never would have happened if we hadn't become jogging buddies due to the pandemic.
Mm.
And now, in order to go out and exercise, like, we go running a couple times a week and we talk. Like, the joy I've gotten is that this time, and it's been consistent, has forced me to really dig into and appreciate and rediscover relationships that I probably didn't realize how full they were, because I was always running at 100 miles per hour. So that's my joy this week. It may be a different joy next week, but that's been my joy this week.
But I've had that too. I've realized that the vast majority of the last few years, I was operating through a haze of exhaustion that I had made normal. And it was unhealthy. But to also feed your question, Toure, I am finding joy in Versus and Afion Crockett.
What'd you say? What was the second one?
Afion Crockett.
Who's that? That's a singer?
He's a comedian.
Yeah.
Oh, word? Okay, I don't know.
And like, if you haven't seen it, like, I literally need you to watch him and Godfrey do interpretations of a conversation between Whoopi Goldberg and Maya Angelou.
Okay.
He's on IG?
Yes.
Avion Godfrey.
Afion Crockett.
Crockett.
Yeah. And the comedian Godfrey. I'm telling you, it's worth the recommendation.
Okay, if that's where we're going, we're talking about funny shit. So, Jason, you a comic book nerd, right?
Yes, I am.
Hey, go check out Ace Vane's account on Instagram if you're not familiar.
Ace Vanes?
Ace Vane. ACEVANE. That's his Instagram handle. Ace Vane.
Okay.
Thank me.
And I was actually going to say, what I'm loving about Versus most is the post Versus with Stephen Hill and Steve Pammon.
Okay.
Host
See,
versus.
the Badu,
Vane? Vane?
Vane.
Okay.
ACEVANE.
Jill Scott one killed me.
Oh, it was therapeutic.
Yeah.
Oh, that
it
was
it
amazing.
was
That
rough
was
beat,
amazing.
and the previous ones had been more of a battle, and like
Yeah.
it's almost like a wrestling battle. Like everybody's gonna win.
Right.
Nobody's gonna get embarrassed and knocked out. Nobody's gonna dunk on it. It's like an all-star game. Nobody's gonna dunk on
Yeah,
it.
I didn't feel that way with Babyface and Teddy Riley.
No.
Wow.
I feel like Babyface was setting landmines. He had sniper rifles.
Some golden eye shit.
I mean,
Proximity.
Teddy Riley just was not ready for the assassin.
He was not ready.
Shit.
He was not ready.
It was the
Had
one
for him.
There was the hip hop one before that. I think it was RZA and Baby, or was it?
That doesn't seem like it would go
No,
together.
Cash Money
Yeah.
got killed by somebody, and I was like, "Damn! Like you were not ready. You were not ready for this."
But I felt
Can't just blame it on the
I
Wi-Fi.
felt that way with Nelly. I felt that way with Nelly and Luda.
Right.
Like not from a catalog standpoint. Like Luda clearly had a hard line because his shit was crispy, and he's a DJ, so like he had this scientifically mapped out playlist, and Luda was just, and Nelly was just coming to rock, and it was evident. It was like a samurai going to war with a street fighter,
But
and
the Jill Scott and Erica one was
that
just
touched me.
great.
Oh, no,
love fest, respect fest, like
it was beautiful.
Yeah.
They radiated. It was just a lot of. Oof.
I mean,
And the catalogs are insane.
Yeah, that was the appreciation, because I that was one, the original Babyface and Teddy Riley, for all the memes and everything. But the only other one that I really paid attention to through and through was Jill Scott and Erykah Badu. Because the other ones I've been switching in and out. There's different things I'm doing on Saturday. But that one I was like, it was church.
Yeah.
Like, in the best possible way.
I didn't watch it this weekend, but I heard that the Kirk Franklin, Fred Hammond versus was inspiring. I don't know if you have. I didn't know if you had to be a fan of gospel to get into it. But it clear, like they were in the same place. They weren't even in different places. They were in the same room.
The shit that I keep watching over and over, and I'm curious to see what y'all say about it. I think I know what Jeff is going to say about it. I don't care. I don't care, because it brings me joy. I watched Black AF like 10 times through.
I couldn't get past the third episode.
Really?
I haven't been able to get past the third episode.
I love that show.
I enjoyed it.
I could recite the lines. I could watch it again right now. I love that show so much. They're bad parents, but they're funny and they're trying. And I love the family. I love seeing this rich black family. I love how he's trying to ball out for his family.
I loved it too. Jeff, why did you hate it?
First of all, I don't know what the fuck Toure is talking about. Like, he's never even asked me what I thought about it.
He just put it on you. He just put it on you without even asking.
Already.
Jesus Christ. No, so to be honest, I've been really irritated with what I think has been some unfair critique.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what I love about it is this disruptive notion of what the Black experience is.
Hell yeah.
And there is this real brilliance of him making fun of himself.
Absolutely.
Elevating this notion of what Black privilege is, and navigating the dichotomy of recognizing what white supremacy is when you're simultaneously privileged as fuck.
Right. Exactly. We have never seen Black people have "fuck you" money on television.
Yeah,
we've seen Black people make it to the highlight,
the deluxe apartment in the sky. Yeah,
a brownstone in Brooklyn, but he had "fuck you" money to white people. That was
so I've really enjoyed what I felt like was a level of courageousness on his part to both laugh at himself and create social commentary that no other Black person has put on TV before.
Yeah.
So I think it's dope. Like, and I don't. It's not destination TV for me. Like, I'm not looking to watch it every episode. I still think it's dope though, and I think that's the problem that I have with the critique, is that we gotta feel like stuff is made for us in order for us to like it.
Right.
And I'm always pained by people who can't see the brilliance in stuff that wasn't made for them.
I mean,
well, Rashida Jones was brilliant.
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
feel like it's made for me. I don't feel like there's
and it
white
probably
people.
is. That's the thing, Toure. Like, I'm a big believer. I'm quick to say with my friends who are in the arts, like, I'm not the target market, right? So if I ain't the target market, like, take my opinion with a grain of salt. I liked the Gary Shandling show, right?
Yeah.
I liked, Curb Your Enthusiasm, even though I really just discovered it, say, the last 2 or 3 years. I just didn't think Black AF is that funny. I didn't understand all the criticism. I was just like, this just ain't that funny to me. Like, I watched 3 episodes, and there's something about a sitcom for me, just pure from a structure standpoint, where it's kind of the centralized character is the least interesting person. And everybody else, Rashida Jones, the daughter who narrates, I think all the characters are funny and witty, and their timing is fantastic. I find Kenya Burris to be, he's Carmelo. Like, the ball just stops when it gets to him. Comedy's flowing, and it gets to him and it stops.
I actually think that's the point.
No, I like him.
Like he literally could have casted whoever he wanted. Right. I think that him being in that role and having that kind of awkward delivery from normal comedic delivery is actually the point. Like, the actual point is, look at me be fucking fabulous and not brilliant in the midst of this brilliant talent.
Yeah.
That is kind of part of the commentary in and of itself.
There's a moment where there's a moment where he's trying to convince his 2 youngest or his almost 2 youngest kids to go along with his decision. And my wife is like, you would do that. And I'm like, I totally would do that. And he enters the conversation giving them each like $200, $300. We don't even see how much. He's so rich, he'll just give the kids $600. He doesn't even care. And he tries to talk them into the vacation that he wants. And when he finally gets them to agree on the vacation destination he wants, he stands up and he snatches the money back out of their hand. It fucking kills me every time.
Jason,
I'm like, yes, I would totally do that.
Jason, I know you said you didn't get past the 2nd episode. You at least got to watch the scene where he gets Ava DuVernay.
That's the one everybody has told me about. That I think the last episode I saw is when they went to the club. So yeah, isn't that like episode 5?
Yeah, that's the big moment in episode 5. You gotta watch that.
Yeah, you gotta at least get there.
That plus the scene before that with Tyler Perry.
The Tyler Perry exchange was
okay. I didn't realize those were the same episode, because those the people who and this is the funny thing about it. Like, I didn't have strong feelings. Like I said, I watched 3. I was like, this is not that funny, but it's not terrible. But like, people who I respect have diametrically opposed views of it, but everybody agrees that I thought those were 2 different episodes. That the Tyler Perry.
The irony of that episode is it's actually literally for you, based on your commentary on the show. You can watch that episode, you'll be like, okay. Like,
but yeah,
literally addressing you.
It definitely
right
digs into some things you probably have dealt with in terms of, I have an elevated opinion of things because I'm hyper-educated. I'm separated from what a lot of Black people feel about things. So am I a hater? Am I distant? Like, I don't like that? Is that a problem?
Am I allowed to say
that?
Right.
That was like a whole argument about, like, Citizen Kane is the shit, and his cousins and his dad are like, Citizen Kane sucked. I'd rather watch Juana Man. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, Juana Man? Talking about Citizen Kane.
Sorry, I wanted Jason to watch the episode, not here. I know you can.
I'm gonna watch this. Look, I can watch Meet the Browns. I can watch House of Pain. and I can watch, Black Monday, which is like one of my favorite shows. So I can get all variations of this. So I'm gonna watch this episode next time. The next show, I will have watched this episode, and I will come back with a newly formed opinion on Black Monday.
You gotta watch the whole season, Michael.
Black Monday is actually hilarious.
Yeah, I love Black Monday. I love Black Monday.
Have
That's
you all
something
watched it?
Never seen.
Have you all watched it?
Y'all gotta watch.
No.
It's Don
Cheadle. What are you talking about? What's Black Monday?
It's Black. It's Don Cheadle and Regina Hall.
Regina Hall, yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Is it on Showtime?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I don't have Showtime. I got to figure that out.
That's on my list. I haven't started it. I'm aware.
Michael, what's giving you joy?
Nigga, did you not hear me get that speech about my fucking backyard?
No, but that's a big joy. Now we doing culture, right?
Nah, motherfucker, you just wasn't listening. You just wasn't
not paying attention.
You just wasn't paying attention.
So what do you want for your birthday? I told you.
I got all that. I got all that, and I said my kid was tall. I got all that. Now when Jeff came back, he said, "All right, we're gonna talk about Avion Crockett and verses."
Right.
Now we talk about culture.
I got my ace. I got my ace thing from Mike. Then I'm gonna look this up.
I'm gonna tell you what's bringing me joy. And I've watched it. Toure, alley oop to you, dog. That Prince concert on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
85 in Syracuse. I watched that a good half a dozen times.
Oh yeah.
That is a gift from Prince himself, from above. Thank you for that. That is incredible. Yeah, that's bringing me a lot of joy.
That was fun. That was fun to watch. That was really beautiful. That was that hit the spot right there. I mean, I watched the Detroit, I think it was 83, 84 concert like a bunch of times right after he died, and that was funkier and badder than what he was.
Yeah.
And it was like, ooh, yeah, that really hit the spot.
Yeah.
Jason,
hey, y'all remember The Last Dance? Remember that? Remember that was fun?
Oh yeah, that one? That thing?
That was fun.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh man, those were the days.
I am old enough to remember The Last Dance. That was definitely some shit. Yo, I definitely watched episode 10 and 8 a lot. Especially when you get into Jordan's psychological craziness of just to say, oh, George Karl walked past me, didn't say hi? Well, now I must crush you.
Bro, Jordan was impossible.
Armstrong celebrated a little bit.
You can't talk to Jordan. You can't not talk to Jordan. You can't say something nice to Jordan. You can't trash talk Jordan. Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Like,
let me tell you,
avoid him altogether.
In actual interpersonal conversation with some colleagues and some people I've had debates with, I have on multiple times since that series said, well, that's you because you ain't won anything. Like that line, I have said that to people since that episode. There's a whole lot of other trash that comes out of it. But that line, maybe not his mentality behind it, but that line has meaning. If anything, that has meaning. And I think we talked about this before. I had this whole debate we talked about before that it so hits me from this historical standpoint that we were not in the pandemic, right? And I was playing this sort of what if scenario. If that documentary comes out when it was supposed to, we weren't in the pandemic, and let's say LeBron and the Lakers had won, that whole documentary hits different if we had a regular series and the Lakers won this year. It would not be viewed as widening the gap.
Because LeBron leads with love, right? And
yeah, I don't agree with you, Jay.
I'm about to say I fundamentally disagree.
No, he's not saying that it affects them on the court. But the way
I know what he's saying, and I disagree.
The way LeBron leads with love and friendship is so beautiful, and Jordan leads with fear and anger, and it makes him look lesser.
I mean,
that's not what Jason just said.
Toure. What I was saying
Toure just said. Go ahead, you say it for yourself, Jason.
Yeah. If LeBron James this year, had we not had the pandemic, had he gone on and won the championship, beat Kawhi and the Clippers, and won a championship, his 4th ring, his 10th finals with the Lakers, 3 teams, and of course he would have had to be the MVP for them to actually win no matter who they face out of the East. I think that the Jordan doc hits a little different. Jordan is still going to be the GOAT. LeBron is still going to be the icon. But I think as opposed to that documentary widening the gap between the two of them, if it was coming off the heels of LeBron getting his 4th ring, which timing-wise, it would have been happening around the same time, I just think it hits different. I think everything would have been viewed in that lens.
I actually agree with Toure in this space, because I think that what the doc did was it crystallized Jordan's apple to LeBron's orange. And the thing that I wish there would be more conversation about is actually their psychological relationship with the game of basketball. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Jordan had a daddy who was his hero. And Jordan didn't come to basketball to make no fucking friends. He didn't need friends. He didn't want friends.
Well, he was always trying to please dad.
Exactly. Yep. But LeBron came to basketball to create family.
Yeah.
And his teammates were his brothers.
That's right.
So even when he was on a high school team where he could have scored 90 points a game, he scored 50 points a game because he's dishing the ball because he doesn't want to go home with a bunch of dudes that he's about to spend the night with without having shared with his brothers. And so who they are as men, I think, is what was more crystallized. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that and I know we had some side conversations where we disagreed with this a little bit, like the fact that Scottie could have made more money if Jordan would have been like, Scottie need to make more money. Yeah. No, it's not my responsibility. Yes, I understand that he took this contract because he's a nigga from Arkansas and the amount that they offered him was a lot of goddamn money. Right. But you can't in one statement say there is no Michael Jordan without Scottie Pippen. And then not feel some kind of obligation to say, I gotta make sure my dude isn't in this shitty ass contract. And to me, it really I am in awe of the physical and psychological phenomenon that is Michael Jordan. I think that he changed basketball in ways that no other person has changed sports. Mm-hmm. That the modern game exists the way it does because of Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. And that when all is said and done, more people will remember LeBron.
I agree. And one thing, when you talk about the mental, physical thing, I got to mention this, because this is hearing Jordan talk about how exhausting it was to three-peat kept making me think of how exhausting it must have been for LeBron to make it to 8 straight finals and then lose a lot of them.
Do you see this Cleveland hat?
I mean, for real. I'm telling you. What that must take to reach that mountaintop every single year and keep
Jeff, you were cooking until that last part about it. It's all said and done. LeBron's gonna be more remembered than Mike.
Yeah. And here's why. And no. Here's why.
Off the court stuff, maybe?
Here's why. Here's why. Because post basketball, Michael Jordan has faded into hear me. He has faded into a memory of a player.
Okay. Sure.
When LeBron leaves the game, he is going to elevate into a whole nother evolution of man.
LeBron has already surpassed Michael in many respects when it comes to redefining what it means to be an athlete, and specifically a black athlete. Like his entrepreneurial, forget about the brand that is Jordan. Nobody will ever touch Jordan's brand.
I agree.
But the holistic approach of LeBron James when it comes to philanthropy, being in the content space.
And that's what I mean, right? That's what I mean.
But I don't think that's going to make him more remembered. He may have a look. You started off saying oranges.
You know the old adage of people don't remember what you did; they remember how you made them feel. Right. And what I am saying to you is that I believe that LeBron is going to be a servant of humanity in a way that is going to make him more memorable in the annals comprehensive
I'll
history.
split the
not
difference.
just
You know what I think? I'll split the difference between the two, you guys. What I
right?
suspect.
And hold on, if you
okay.
play to win the game, and Jordan will be remembered as the ultimate winner. And LeBron got to many finals, but he did not win many times.
That's
And that
not fair.
Jordan
That's
wins
not
the
fair.
last.
That's
No,
not
that Jordan
fair.
wins the last.
But I didn't say he was going to be remembered as the greatest basketball player.
Yeah, but that was just bullshit, though, Toure. That was bullshit. That's not fair. That's not fair.
I mean,
winning
look,
matters.
I see what I see is in 20 years, right? Because I agree with both of you all. I agree with both of you all. I think in 20 years, whereas Jeff is right, he's got this amazing brand, and he's always going to be remembered as the player. I think Michael's right, and LeBron has already surpassed him. I mean, Survivor's Remorse is actually like a good show. Like, that's just like, wow, this guy produces a great show. But in 20 years, LeBron is going to be like Strahan or Howie Long. He's going to be some big famous entity, and your 15-year-old grandchild is going to be like, oh, he used to play basketball? That guy?
Which is why both on and off the court, I'll go back to what you led with, Jeff, was apples and oranges. Like, so I would go, and Jason, I'll actually go back to what you said earlier when you was like, it would have hit. You started this off by saying it would have hit different if LeBron had won it. For the longest time, my take was, as a player, there is nothing LeBron can do to touch Michael Jordan. But then the motherfucker got better as his career went on. I'm like, hold on. Like, that wasn't part of the deal. I didn't know you were going to start shooting threes out this motherfucker as you got into your, it become even better as you got older.
Right.
But I've since realized that while I believe that Michael Jordan is the greatest, for all the reasons you laid out, Jeff, about the difference in the way LeBron plays, Michael Jordan was low-key selfish. Two takeaways I had from this documentary. One, I'd have punched the piss out of Michael Jordan and live with the consequences. I'll be damned if you're going to sit there and call me a hoe all the time and get away with it. I'm going to call you the greatest guy.
There needs to be a Scott Burrell documentary. Scott Burrell needed therapy.
Bullshit. Like, I mean, he was like,
the face. He would have pushed him harder.
Why were you sitting up getting away with that? But the second part of it, he was low-key selfish. Because the things that drove Michael Jordan, not just his daddy, but his own personal vendetta, and him feeling like the best way for us to win was through me. LeBron is like, the best way for us to win is through us, collectively. And that's why I said it's not fair, Toure, when you talked about him not being the winner that Jordan is. The teams that he brought to the finals, first of all, getting there 8 straight years? He'd going to 10? Magic Johnson lost 4. Like, the teams he got to the finals, number one. Number two, he wasn't always helped. Dallas notwithstanding, he was not always helped in those finals the way Michael Jordan was often helped in those finals. So we could say 6-0 all we want, but guess what? Michael Jordan also lost in the first round of the playoffs earlier in his career a lot of times.
Michael Jordan Michael Jordan also won those rings with 2 of the 50 best players in the NBA.
And the best 100%. Coach. And the best, it's funny how much time on The Last Dance was spent on how much people hated Jerry Krause, and because he did all these terrible things and Jerry Reinsdorf didn't get as much criticism. Who have the GMs been that LeBron had to deal with? I mean, like, LeBron had GMs that gave him a broken Larry Hughes, the leftover pieces of Shaquille O'Neal. The only time he had a decent team around him is when he and Wade and Bosch orchestrated it on their own. He has never had a fantastic coach or an award-winning GM. And that sort of stuff ends up making a difference.
He's never had a good coach.
No, he's been the coach.
Yes,
he's actually been both. But
when you're in Cleveland, Larry Brown was going to the sidelines like, "What are we supposed to do?"
All I'm saying is, like, I think they're both their own entity, and I hate to do LeBron at this point. I hate to do LeBron the disservice, especially for all the reasons we're talking about, what he's done off the court, which is in this day and age unparalleled. He's going to go down with a lot of these icons that we look back throughout history and say that, that define what it meant to be a black athlete. He's in that pantheon. I don't like doing LeBron the disservice of holding him up to Jordan, because he deserves better at this point.
And it doesn't have to be a comparison, but one of the things that really started to move me in the 10th episode was the discussion of fathers and the discussion of Jordan's father,
with Steve
Kerr's father, and then Jordan crying out literally and figuratively to, was it Gus Lett, taking him on as a surrogate father and ultimately burying him. It was just really powerful. And the little blip of children, as if there is a personal life. I don't know why his personal life is erased from this, but okay. But
he's never let us in there. He's never let anybody in that space.
And even when you
that also was just part of the culture of that time.
Yeah,
it wasn't as if many ball players or athletes let you into their personal lives during that time.
Right. But I want to say, even when you talk about the connection with him and Steve Kerr having both lost their fathers, that one line, when after Steve Kerr hit him and everything else like that, the line that also got me about how Jordan operated goes with what Michael says, goes with what Jeff said, where he's like, yeah, I felt bad. So I asked one of the staff members, what's Steve Kerr's phone number? The fact that you didn't have Steve Kerr's phone number. You only got 12 guys on the team. You didn't even have his number.
But when he's playing baseball, he has BJ Armstrong's number. So he's not just like a hater. Like, I was cool with BJ to where I remember I could call him. Like, where do you even go to have pancakes with BJ Armstrong in Chicago?
I'm saying you got 12 on your team.
First of all, that was some bullshit. So if you believe that Jordan was having pancakes with BJ Armstrong,
BJ said that.
There was a whole lot of people that said shit in that documentary that wasn't true.
Apparently.
So
you talking about Horace Grant now?
Horace Grant is number one.
I didn't tell nobody nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
So Sam and I had a great relationship, but that don't mean I was his source.
The debate
that mean I told him things that only he could have found out from me or one other person.
I continue to be frustrated that people forget that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played basketball.
Yeah.
And like, listen, I don't think it is even debatable that Michael Jordan changed basketball in a way that nobody else has changed any sport. However, nobody has played the game of basketball the way that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played the game of basketball.
Well, hold on now a second now, Mr. C, because I grew up in Boston.
Russell was the greatest winner in team sports history.
Bill Russell changed the game of basketball in a way that perhaps nobody has changed.
Arguably the smartest defensive player in NBA history.
I don't disagree. All I'm talking about is
Kareem Kareem has it all.
Numbers.
From high school to college to MVPs to championships to points to the most unstoppable shot the game has ever seen. No, he absolutely gets left out.
Mike only beats him in two areas, and in one area, it's only by like 2 assists.
Yeah.
No, he gets unfortunately. It should be more, which is why with basketball, man, like it probably unfortunately. We should probably treat basketball, just because there's fewer guys on the court, we should probably treat it the way we treat football. It's real hard to say who's the greatest football player of all time.
Right.
Is it really the quarterback, or is it Lawrence Taylor? Is it Jerry Rice? Is it Jim Brown?
Because nobody ever does that. They do it by position.
They do it by position. We probably should at least go perimeter or big in the NBA. We should at least respect, because for my money, my all-time starting center is Hakeem Olajuwon. Like, it's like there are so many bigs that just get left behind when people go immediately to the perimeter and say it's Jordan, it's LeBron, it's Kobe. Those are probably the 3 most popular contemporary choices for greatest of all time. And like, wait, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ain't never played. Bill Russell ain't win 11 championships. Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, so we probably got to do a better job.
So Mike, who's your top 5 in no particular order?
Top 5 or position? Which one you want?
Top 5.
Top 5.
No
particular order. It's Jordan. It's Kareem, it's Russell, and it is. I know how much he dominated the game, but I'm reluctant to leave Wilt Chamberlain out and put in Kareem and Magic. Magic and Bird. So it's Magic, Bird, Jordan, Kareem, Russell for me.
Wow, so LeBron and Kobe aren't in your top 5?
And here's how I put my top 5 together. I put it together based off of career achievements, but also like the dudes, we're talking about changing the game. Like, there is no NBA without Magic and Bird and that rivalry and what they did. And for about a 4-year period, the baddest motherfucker on the planet was that white boy from Boston. He was the baddest motherfucker on the planet. And so it's like, it's hard for me to keep those two out. So I sound like hating ass Paul Pierce now. Fuck, how you have a top 5? How you have a credible top 5 without LeBron James? Fuck. Let me do that again.
I actually appreciated your logic, and you should just ride with it.
It don't feel right. It don't feel.
But you're more the expert, because I'm one of those people who's caught up by recency bias. Like I know Kareem's numbers, and I remember seeing him like as a kid. You know, of course, I haven't seen Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell and everything else like that. When I think of, yes, LeBron, Jordan, I think the top two are always easy. After that, I get confused as to whether I would want to pick somebody like Tim Duncan, who I think is probably the best power forward ever.
Right.
Or am I ignoring
really
James
a center,
Worthy?
but that's okay.
It's hard past Jordan. Past Jordan and LeBron,
I got to take Bird out. My logic about them rebuilding the NBA. I got to take Bird out. Bird got to go. I can't take Magic out.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I can't take Magic. I got to take Bird out. Especially that's easy. That's an easy trade off. Small forward. I cannot have a credible top five. That's like having a top five in hip hop without Rakim. Like whether you listen to Rakim or not, put Rakim in your fucking top five. Like just all GP. You gotta have LeBron in your top five.
Nobody after Rakim can say they weren't influenced by Rakim. It changes the game in terms of multisyllabic rhymes, in terms of internal rhymes, in terms of the complexity of the rhymes. But even if you front, you are influenced by him.
Yeah.
Happy to have a Trump-free moment.
Oh, me too.
Yes.
Well done.
Yeah.
That is. But you know what? It also shows like what a limited space he really holds in our lives when we get right down to it. As much as he wants to be on everybody's thoughts, he's not.
But he wants to be. It's easy to have that moment in any conversation of, and of course, Trump said the dumbest thing possible. It's just like punctuation. It's just so boring. There's nothing deeper that we can do with that thought than just like, yep, he's the biggest idiot in all the land.
And it's not going to change. I mean, he'll be that way. I'll tell you this: my who's gonna, what the circumstances will be next week, and I'll tell you this: like, even with those people getting arrested, those cats who shot Breonna Taylor haven't been arrested. So stuff is not going to calm down until there's going to have to be a lot more arrests and a lot more actual reform. And I'll also say this: what's also going to extend this stuff, besides it being the weekend coming up, is every single protester who was peacefully protesting, who got their ass kicked this week, is coming back this weekend angry.
Yeah.
And that's the other part that's being missed. I was out there, they've been talking about this and I've seen it. I was out there in Baltimore where they were putting out those bullshit pallets of bricks to try and lure people, like a fucking axe floating over you in a video game. Grab the axe, right? They were for real. They're leaving these piles of bricks out there in order to get the protesters to throw them. We're walking through downtown Baltimore and it's like, there is no construction around here. How the hell did this pile, there ain't no cobblestone roads, we weren't in Fells Park. How you have these cobblestone bricks? And I've been seeing this stuff all over online, white folks handing out bricks and shit like that, in order to lead to destruction. And my boy Lionel Donovan, I don't know if you guys know him, he's one of those guys who got shot with a rubber bullet in Minneapolis. Like this stuff, people gonna come back pissed this weekend.
I know somebody who lost her eye, permanently now blind in her left eye.
Shit.
Media behind a rubber fucking bullet. But you don't even need to give folks bricks. I see, because there's always somebody handing out snacks and water at these things. And if it goes on long enough, people start throwing plastic water bottles at the cops. And I'm sorry, that is not enough of a reason for cops to go ape shit. But for some reason, they think it is. And they freaking pull out batons and beat the shit out of people for throwing. And I'm like, you got to have much more perspective. We are here protesting your guy fucking up. So don't fucking.
I saw the cops just pepper spraying everybody in near the Barclays Center. Like that was. I don't live in the city. I live outside of DC, and between what I saw in New York and what I've seen in DC, it was safer in Baltimore than it was in DC. That's how bad shit has gotten.
Yeah.
I mean, DC is not safe because of the cops.
But DC also has a different target.
Yeah, that's
they're
true.
behaving. I mean, and I know we've seen some love fest in there, but they're behaving like a different species of people, or a different species, a different race of people. They're just behaving as though, I'm just like, who's under this body armor? Who's under these masks? Like it's just their overall general approach to these protests has been, baffling.
It's like they out to prove the protesters right.
Yeah.
But it's also like they're like, stop criticizing us. Shut the fuck up.
Which is why the clapback is going to be interesting. You see people like, Minnesota Public Schools terminating their contract.
Yes. University of Michigan.
They ain't going away quiet. They ain't just going to take this shit.
Ohio State just called for a disconnect from Columbus police as well.
Yep.
Ooh, man.
Yep. And with all this stuff happening, also bear in mind that, like, I did this interview earlier today, and I was saying, Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, remember, we found out about those things 2 months after the fact because of video and protesters' investigations, right? So how many other Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery stories are we going to hear about in the coming weeks? Because as this has been happening, those videos are going to surface.
Well,
right?
even just like the thing about Chauvin and what the other officers pulled is like, whether that's a legal move or an accepted practice, whatever, bruh, that was clearly something that they had done time.
Oh yeah,
they didn't just say, hey, let's try this where I get on his knee. Hey guys, you get over there. Like, they had done that time and again, enough to be standing there with your hand in your pocket, knowing exactly what you were doing. And
knowing that you're being filmed.
Right. And so
like you sitting there like,
what's the, like, is this the ones that aren't caught, which we all know there's a long history of police accident that wasn't on video, but moving forward now, will it still take video moving forward? That's gonna be another tell.
Oh yeah.
That's right. I was rhetorical, but I'm saying
we will believe you. If Rodney King came out and told us they beat my ass, we would be like, yeah, that sounds about right. That's unbelievable. White people be like, I don't know. They don't do that.
But what did you do?
Right, exactly.
Is it really gonna change? And again, that's rhetorical, because it's going to take video moving forward. There's still going to be people like, well, did you resist? Or is it, or what's in your, you're still going to try them in the public. Like, well, did you have weed in your system in high school? Did your cousin go to jail? Like, that's never going to change,
I'm going to say this before I got to clock out, y'all. The key thing also that I have noticed, as far as not just sort of what's happening on the ground, but even some of the coverage, is that there is so much, which is the beauty of what we've done tonight, what we've started tonight. There is so much more fucking work that needs to be done in the coverage of this stuff. The coverage is trash. I mean, like, I don't watch a lot of TV. A lot of what I've been doing is I'm following the periscopes of protesters that I know on the ground in these separate cities, because the coverage that we have is often so problematic. Well-intentioned, but problematic to get eyeballs. The focus on one burning trash can instead of everything else going on. The focus on trying to make good guys and bad guys, as opposed to, like, why are they violent? Wait a minute. The violent person was the cop. Yeah. I'm sorry, if I came up with a sign, you put pepper spray in my face, I'll probably throw a brick too. By the way, there's a huge pallet of them right here. I mean, like, that's